We'll move into the council part of the meeting. We'll need to add a couple things to the agenda. One would be the garbage truck. And then you have something else you need to add, the lining or
Nope, I had that on.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to add the repair of the garbage truck to the agenda, and then we can vote on that when we get down to his report.
Okay. I'll make a motion to add and repair it.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public comment from anybody. You have 3 minutes, and it has to deal with something on the agenda. If anybody would like to address council at this time.
Question, I was wondering what's going on with your, properties, with the properties, the bids.
Oh yes, no bids on the properties.
None. All right. Move into consent agenda. Council, do you want to pull these together, or anybody have any questions to take any of them out? If not, I'll entertain a motion to consent agenda to be approved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Fire chief report. Bob?
For the month of January, Company 14 responded to 21 calls. Company 32 responded to 22 calls. Yesterday, I had a meeting with the chiefs and the captains from each station. We went over our box alarms. The county was requesting them be updated, any changes needed being made so they can get ready to put them in the new CAD system. We got that taken care of yesterday. Captain Bartlett typed them all up, presented them to 911 Center, and then I got copies of them also. February 19th at Station 32, there's going to be a UGI training. They're going to come in and do that. Do you know what time that is? We've been obviously having a lot of odors of gas and things in the borough over the last year or so, so we're going to have UGI come in and do a training session. I mean, it's open. Hey guys, you guys want to get out and listen in? As soon as I... Okay, I'm thinking 6 o'clock, but I will...
Just out of curiosity, those reports that you're getting, the smell of gas, is it all over or is it concentrated in one area?
most of the time it's all over.
Yeah, this one.
We don't have, because usually if we get an address, we will call the gas company, and then we use our meters also. And unless we have an active leak, I mean, we can always, use spray bottles to see if we have an active leak, but the last couple have been multiple coverage area, not just designated to one address.
What's
It
that?
was our neighbors on the other side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because we reported the same thing to the gas company
Yeah,
Yeah.
across the street and they came out.
yeah.
UGI did.
Yeah. Next thing on my agenda, I told these guys yesterday, now that we got the box alarms taken care of, the borough SOPs need some addressing. So we're going to get working on that and come up with a new set of borough standard operating procedures for the borough of Lewistown. They haven't been updated for years. So we're going to tackle that next. I sent a letter, a handwritten letter yesterday to Josh Pennypacker is taking over and as supervisor role of the actual dispatch center. Something we've been fighting for years. And then Mr. Bartlett fought for it for years, and we always ran into a little bit of a hassle. Not that it's a big issue, it's just that the certain individual didn't want to do any changing, but we're going to change the battalion chief designation to Chief 46 and Deputy 46. Now I come up with 46 is 32 and 14. So that's what we're going to do there. And lastly, I know it wasn't our playground, but I want to commend the Lewistown Fire Department on the terrace fire. We, 32, Chief Shute, Chief Markley and myself arrived about the same time. Truck 32 pulled in right behind Rescue 15 on side A. Rescue 14 pulled in behind Truck 15, and they had a tremendous amount of fire, both A and C sides. It was just blowing. And unfortunately, this happened again, but 11 years ago, when we ran into it the first time, we went in blind. Things went a lot better this time. I mean, it was a heck of a way to pre-plan a fire, but things went better. We knew what we needed. Initially, we knew that we couldn't drain their hydrant system up there for water because it's not very good, so we got tankers rolling. We had fill sites set up on 3rd Street. We got water flowing, but just the action of our people in Lewistown Borough, I'd like to commend them because they did one hell of a job, excuse my French. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, can I just, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
We're updating the emergency management.
Yeah, Tyler told me, he said once I
So
sit
we
down,
need
yeah.
a list of all of them.
Yep, yep, well, he said that, told me that earlier, and we'll discuss that then. Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief?
Hey, one thing here, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Mark, you can help me out here. But that's the chief said, he sat down with these chiefs, assistant chiefs and captains yesterday and set up his box alarms and everything. And I think council needs to approve his recommendations. Am I correct? That we have to have something on file? Because I had to go through that.
Not that I would know. I don't know anything about why council would need to do anything about that.
Okay, so we're okay with,
We really didn't make a lot of changes from the existing. The only thing that's going to be really noticeable is obviously back when we had 3 stations, we had an 11 box for west end of town, a 13 box for south side of town, and a 14 box for the east side of town. So what it's decided to was keep 14s the same, change 13s to 32, and then what we'll do there is we'll continue to dispatch things as far as structure fires, whatever needed by the box. What it can help with is like a wires down or like a single pole station. We're only going to run one piece of apparatus in a 14 box and a 32 box to try to keep apparatus off the street. We renamed the 11 box on the west end of town to a 1432 box. That will bring one piece of apparatus from each to going that way. And another reason why we did that, at least now we know that's the west end of town. So we're trying to keep some of the mileage, and I know everybody wants to go whoop whoop and everything else and, you know, put the wet stuff and the red stuff. Trying to knock some of that apparatus on the street down and see how that goes. I mean, if they need help, they can always call back, but that's pretty much the biggest change that we made.
I mean, I'm fine with it and everything, but I thought we had to have some type of...
I thought you were correct, because we had to do it for you.
Yeah, what it is, his mutual aid assignments are also in this box alarms. I think we had to have some type of an agreement to accept his mutual aid response, which I'm all in favor of. If we need to do that, I'm glad to make a motion to accept the chief's mutual aid agreements.
Why don't you then, yeah, make that motion.
That way, we're protected, we have mutual aid agreements in the minutes. And,
All right, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Mayor?
I'm going to have my report on the second meeting,
Okay.
unless I have something, I'll let you know to get me on the agenda.
Is Dave not coming this evening?
No, not tonight. He too is going to have a report on the next meeting.
Okay.
I don't have anything to
You don't have anything? Borough manager?
We talked about the storm lining, cleaning, televising bids, so we're good there. Grant funding opportunities. I was in Harrisburg on Thursday, met with DCED leadership, the executive director of the Commonwealth Financing Authority, and one of her employees who oversees a lot of water and sewer projects and grants in the state. Very good meeting. He gave us a couple different avenues to go after, not just at the state level, but also at the federal level. Some USDA grants that are for rural America, less than 10,000 in your community. So we fall in that category. So Nick and I are working on setting up a meeting with Senator McCormick's office, the newly elected senator from Pennsylvania, to meet with them and kind of look at some of those avenues for funding. So stay tuned to that. But hopefully next week we're going to jump on a call and chat with him. And hopefully here in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to share some other information that I have as well. So stay tuned. And then the last thing is a storm line slip lining demo. I think Wednesday, I don't know when this is going to happen. Geyer Brothers is going to come in and do a slip lining demo for us in the borough. I've invited some outside municipalities as well that want to come see it happen. When I met with Representative Benninghoff a couple weeks ago, I had told him and explained what we were doing. Well, he texted Nick last week and said, make sure you let Tyler know that I want to come see this in person. So Representative Benninghoff is fully engaged in what we're doing and wants to help the borough here. So they usually park in this second and third tier.
Oh, okay.
The nursing students do. So that still leaves that bottom tier for the local businesses of those that are coming in to utilize.
In the very top tier, I imagine we probably have some residents.
We have some residents along 3rd Street there. Yeah.
We want to make sure that.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking about the meters on 3rd Street. You know, on 3rd Street, all that's on there are residents and churches. There are very few businesses. It just seems like such a waste to even put them there.
Right, because a lot of them individuals, they do have to come in and buy a pass. So I don't know if your thoughts are if we can continue to move forward in, changing that lot to a parking by permit only for a couple, designate 2 rows at this point.
Yeah, I would support that. I mean, what would we do with the meters? You said we'll reuse the meters and replace
Put the
broken
meter-
ones. Can we do something at the top, like put a plug on top of the pool or something,
Yeah, we
make
can.
a sign?
Yep. Yeah.
If you're gonna take out the meters and make it permanent parking only, do you have to put a sign at every spot to make it permanent only? Because that's, like, you can't just put a sign up and say it is. I think to enforce each spot probably needs a sign.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'd be certainly clearer if every spot had a sign.
It wouldn't be that big, just,
Yeah, it would have to be very.
So-
You could actually put it right on top of the pole and.
I guess,
I was
are
thinking
we,
maybe there's a cap that holds a sign or something.
Yeah.
are we done with the authority, Mark? What has to be completed here before we do anything like this?
Today, I finished up an asset purchase agreement between the authority and the borough, whereby basically, kind of like with the municipal authority, the assets are sold for $1 in this case, and the property is transferred to the borough, all the contracts are transferred to the borough, and we would, by resolution, then terminate the authority.
So that should be processed before we do this?
Right. Well, no, I don't think you necessarily have to.
Okay.
I mean, the borough still makes the rules and whatever regarding parking in the borough.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then if I look at the United lot, like, I want to get with Scott Brothers and, I would determine, he would help me determine which spots are best because he knows which ones park, or passes park there on a daily basis, so.
Does he have a pretty good audit of what's not working?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's the one that brought this up to be able to use some of those meters and move them around and stuff like that. So I will start to work with him on this. You know, it's gonna be a month or so out, but until we look at signage and stuff like that, but at least wanted to get your blessing to continue pursuing this.
I would think for that one, you'd want to go further towards Third Street for your permits, because people that park there walking downtown to shop,
Yeah.
you know, you park there and then you walk down the hill.
Right, yeah, I mean, I know, like I said, Scott has a very, most of them I think are coming from right here around the square.
Yeah.
So, and then the other parking that I had, or wanted to at least bring up, was the West Market Street 3 to 6 a.m. parking. Even in the short time at the end of street sweeper parking, from Juniata Street down to the courthouse, most of these are homes in through here, and they're having to move every single night for street sweeping, because it says you need to be off the streets from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. A lot of houses in through here, so I don't know if there's any thoughts, or, you know, do we change this to just once a week like everybody else? Obviously, the downtown the business district starts kind of from Wayne Street down. I think this helps those folks in that area not having to move their cars every night.
I would be agreeable.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
To help alleviate them, and they won't have to move every single night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is that, okay. So, those are the two big, parking things that I had. And I think for the most part, everything else is rolling. I will, obviously, is there an order to change something?
I'll take a look at the ordinances involved and see if anything really needs changed.
Okay. Because I think it's essentially the first 2 blocks of West Market. That's really all I got. Thoughts? So I'll give it my works on that.
Anybody from you can chime in, this is an open discussion, so if anybody has anything to discuss with street parking.
So you're proposing one night for West Market Street?
Just from Juniata to the jail.
Right, one night,
They just have to move one night. Right now, they have to move every night between 3 and 6. Most of them are residences that, I just don't think it's fair. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me to make them move every night.
that makes sense.
Talking money, we do have some bids. Seth, you just sent that to me, right?
Yeah, I sent a side-by-side.
Side-by-side.
Around 412 there somewhere.
Anyway, we got our contract from the LSA grant to move forward with awarding our bid for us to start the cleaning and televising of our storm lines. So I have 3 bids. Geyer Brothers came in at $53,615. Any additional heavy cleaning from them, which is more than 1 pass, they're bidding it at $1,015 per hour. Mr. Rehab, he came in at $46,580. And Seth, do you know off the top of your head, is it 2 passes for them?
I believe two.
Anything more than 2 passes is heavy. I think is how, and they were only 525 an hour. But that was, they were giving us 2 passes. Geyer Brothers was only giving us 1. And then the third one is USG. They are $32,290. And they are giving us 2 passes with the jetter to clean that line. So my recommendation is that we award it to USG. They're currently doing some digester stuff for us as well. I'm not saying that this is gonna get all of it, but this will get us a good start. We have $300,000 to spend for this. So at this point, USG, I'll ask for that, entertain a motion later here then to award them the bid. So. And then the only other thing is the USG, the lining of the digester. You guys had initially, back in September, approved it at $190,000, and it came in at $198,800. I think they initially forgot the prevailing wage, the bond, and the insurance in that, so they had to requote that. That's a CoStar's contract, so I'll ask for that to be.
That was 194.
198.
198.
You know, when we originally looked at that, didn't they talk about using different kinds of sealants? And the quote started out at 40,000, went up to 200,000.
Yeah. Seth, can you talk to that?
That was right when I started with heat, so I was.
Yeah, initially there was a lining that they were gonna use that we could potentially do in-house, $50,000-$60,000. And then when they got into it, looking at specs and stuff, they didn't feel that it would hold up to the point where we're hoping to maximize the life of this digester 15, 20 years down the road.
Well, they're gonna line the whole thing.
They're gonna line the whole side, yep, the whole inside. So that's where this thing came into play.
Where are we with the permitting for down there for the,
I believe everything has been sent in, we're just waiting to hear back.
We're gonna bid it as soon as we get the conditional approval, I think, or through that.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Other than that, you guys have anything?
anything else for work session? Finance or streets?
I just need a motion to add the garbage
Not yet.
truck.
I assume that's what this next part
Yep,
was.
yep, sorry.
So we,
With people coming in and making payments and settling bills. We're getting there.
we have a number?
I said to Scott, it was very chaotic today. I thought I could get you a number, but I will get you one too. I'll get you a better report of the delinquency where they're at.
Okay.
Till then. But obviously, if we continue with the sewer and refuse delinquency, we'll be sending notices here in February for our cycle ones to give them notice. But I feel like we've had a lot of people make efforts to make their payments and settle their accounts, so. So do you have anything on this, Sue?
Nope, just plan on the February 10th
February,
to send
yeah.
out delinquencies for cycle 1.
That's where we're at. Commercial EDUs, Summer was working on this, just getting them up to date with the amount of usage that they have throughout the past year, making sure that they're being billed properly. Those notices went out in the cycle 2 billing year, which was just sent out the end of last week with that notice. And then all of the accounts in the system are reflecting all of those changes. So, and I have talked to the big ones that we knew were significant jumps. They were aware and completely understood what was happening. So
Has anybody reached out to the laundromats at all yet?
we haven't. They just changed ownership actually.
Okay.
So we're waiting. So I'm gonna get with the new ownership and.
Yeah, I think that would be worth paying a personal visit, because it'll be a big change.
And I don't know if they're local.
That one down Giant?
The one
Where is
that
it?
changed.
The one up in 4th Street changed to the people who own behind them, the sheet metal company.
DS.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So there was an ownership.
And
change.
whoever bought Joe G's building also bought, I believe, bought the laundromat, because his wife had owned that. But I don't know who that is.
Yeah. I have to look.
Do you know, Bob? Who bought that?
So that, for the additional EDUs, it does work out to be a little over 25,000 a quarter total, so 100,000 a year additional.
And that's just making an error, based on our
Correcting what-
1982 agreement and the code. That's we're just billing them how they're supposed to be. I did have a couple things. Garbage truck, we just replaced the turbo. This is not on the agenda because it was just brought to my attention about 2 hours ago. Garbage truck 405, we just put a new turbo in the other garbage truck. Ken from Ascendance called, and the other garbage truck needs its turbo replaced. He said that it's nothing that we are doing. All of our maintenance is on par, on check. It's the DEF systems in these trucks are causing these issues. He's starting to see it more and more, that they're having to replace turbos in the garbage trucks. So I just need, at some point, your guys' blessing to have that truck fixed. It'll be paid out of the refuse account as well. It's probably north of 8,000 to have the turbo replaced again. But again, it's nothing that we're doing. It's all coming from.
Do you need a motion to do that?
Well,
I will when I get.
When we get into, yeah.
So when we get to that, but I will. So before I forget that.
That'll have to be added to the agenda.
Yeah. So you guys have any questions for me, for Summer, about the billing at this point? Like what's happening? Thoughts from you guys?
The only thought that I have is, we discussed this at the last meeting. I understand it's been a hectic week, so when you get to the next meeting, we want to start seeing a month-over-month review of where we stood for delinquencies, say, December 31st, January 31st, February, and so on.
I ran that information for December 31st. I have
Okay.
here, it's over $500,000
Okay.
delinquent, so I'm anxious to see here once
Yeah.
you finalize January where we stand.
CDBG, this has been an ongoing discussion. I guess I just need to get you guys' thoughts on how you want to move forward with this, so I can get an updated signed contract with them for our 23 money. And then our 24 money will be coming in September of this year. So that pot's about $245,000. I know they talked last council meeting that it can be used potentially for fire. I know that there's some air packs coming down the pipe, at least at the truck. So, thoughts of how you want to.
And it can't be used for roads, is that correct?
But can be, but it gets a little gray, not so much gray, but it adds more work where you have to go out and start soliciting interviews and surveys that.
I think that you know, we're waiting on some information on these air packs, I think, on cost and things of that nature. But I think probably what makes the most sense from a financial standpoint is to put as much down as we can on the principal of the fire truck.
Earmark this for the fire department.
You know, when we initially looked at what our interest payments are gonna be over 15 years, I think it came out to $900,000 in interest, if you take out the full amount of the loan. So any big chunks of down payment that we can put down on that, basically it'll offer more money to give to the fire stations.
Right. And that's where I'm at too. Like, I think if you can utilize this money, it opens up the possibilities for the fire specialty tax for the fire departments to help offset some other additional costs that, you know, they're incurring and stuff like that. At least for a year or two. You know, it's not that you have to commit every year to this, but at least for a year or two to help get everything in order, get financials in order. And that's based on, you know, our conversation. So I'll continue to work.
We might hear more about that when it comes to fire committee this evening, so, yeah.
So I will continue to work with CEDACOG, and we'll try to maybe start to head in that direction. And obviously fire truck, I mean, do you have anything else you want to add? Did I send those numbers?
I don't think I did.
I didn't see any numbers.
The loan numbers.
Just the loans?
This was from some financing. This was from Kish Bank. So you can see those numbers. These are monthly payments.
That's down a little bit to what we.
Leasing by 2 was a little less than that.
I'm sorry?
Leasing by 2
Oh, was less than this?
was, I think, 6.8%. And they deferred the first year's payment out of, obviously you're paying interest. for that year.
Interest, yeah.
They were yearly payments, or you could do quarterly.
And that was, E1 was coordinating all that, wasn't it?
Yes, I was working through that.
Why don't we try to get a hold of E1, because those quotes were given probably 6-8 months ago.
Try to get an updated.
Get an updated quote, because interest rates have dropped twice
Yeah.
since then.
How recent is this one? Last week?
Yesterday,
Yesterday?
or 2 days ago.
Okay.
What's today? Monday.
Yeah.
How about, last week then?
Yes.
Yeah, this is last week.
So that's Kish?
This is Kish.
This is Kish here, yeah.
Have we tried other ones?
I didn't get anything back from them yet, so I'm waiting to see.
Well, it should open up to everybody.
Yeah. And the 20-year one is, I think it's a stretch. I don't think they really want it to go 20 years.
I don't want to go 20 years. I want to go 10.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 10.
Yeah, so, but at least we have some more concrete numbers that we can look at.
Okay.
Hopefully till next month we will be able to, maybe even the next meeting, I'll be able to have some more finite numbers. So I'll get an updated number for leasing by 2.
And you're gonna check with JVB?
Yes. These are just, we talked about this a little bit last time we had, about potentially taking out some meters in the lots and just making it a parking by permit only to help us take away, to save some of the meters, to be able to recycle them. I'm gonna put this back on your radar. I just highlighted maybe like 2 strips there that if we took the meters out of the one row on the 3rd tier, And the next row down, we put signs at each end, parking by permit only. That helps us recycle those meters. We don't have to maintain them. We don't have to put batteries into them because there's permit parking at them anyways, so they're not even feeding the meter. We're just putting batteries into them.
Where's the hospital?
Down below.
Nursing.
So I'll make sure he
When's
gets.
that gonna be?
I'm not sure yet. Hopefully Wednesday I'll know. The guy from Geyer Brothers is coming out Wednesday to look at it and
Okay.
give us a date. So, but yeah, so we're moving in the right direction, little by little. So that's all I got.
Okay. New business, recommendation and approval of this, or the storm line cleaning television, the LSA grant.
And this is going to go to USG.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to choose USG at around 32,000.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval to award USG for the digester lining at $198,800.
And again, we're just updating this, the quotes.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And recommended to approval for to replace the rolling steel door at the water treatment plant for the amount of $8,874. What's that about?
So they have a door that they've been limping through, I guess. It's a door that keeps heat inside one of the buildings to keep the treatment plant going. Central PA Dock and Door was there to try and rehab it several times now. I guess we got it zip tied together, band-aids together, like we've reached our life with it. We got 2 different quotes and
Coach, Norda, Coach.
no. But Central PA Dock and Door came in at this price, so they were the cheapest.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I just had that last one to recommend approval for the repair, so we added it to the agenda.
Oh, yeah. So we added the agenda to repair the turbo in the 904 or 405?
405.
405 garbage truck, so I need approval for that.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is that what you have?
That's all I got.
Okay. Public comment, any non-agenda items, so if anybody would like to address us? Yeah, Jim?
Has the meeting with the landlords been established?
Not yet. Caitlin was, she was reaching out to a group called Keystone Council of Government that, like Homing, I want to say Perry, there's a couple different counties that had a rental ordinance in place. And Mayor, do you remember that? They had a rental ordinance in place. She was reaching out to them to see if they would be willing to come as far as Mifflin County to kind of group us all as one big council. So she was waiting to hear back from them. It's probably going to be next week at this point.
And what they would be responsible for doing is the inspection,
Yeah. And
because there's no way that our department could do all that.
so we were just looking at what they were doing and how they did it. Actually, their third-party building inspectors do all of their
Yeah.
rental inspections.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Our third party doesn't have an interest at this point. They're just not big enough. So hopefully next week. But I will keep you posted.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, can you say what the last garbage truck, what that repair was?
For a turbo.
Turbo.
How much?
I don't have the number yet, but the last one was right around $8,000.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to go over this? Or is that just for us?
That's just.
Okay. All right, we need to go into executive session. I believe we'll be coming out after executive session with a couple motions that has to be passed. So at this time, we're recessed. Thank you. the resignation of employee A to the agenda so we can vote on it.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now I'll entertain a motion to accept the resignation of employee A effective February 16th, 2025.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll entertain a adjournment at this time.
Motion adjourned.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.